Hailing you, hailing us from the USS Spacebook. Refill your Romulan ale on us and engage your warp drive for this episode of our YouTube exclusive, raw, unfiltered, as live Star Trek video podcast, vodcast. Yes, Christian, it is a word. Vodcast news, views, and reviews from the final frontier with me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, and this week's away team, but actually a home team, making their way through the latest, very expensive, but as ever, very, very divisive season of Star Trek Discovery from CBS All Access or Netflix, depending on which quadrant you are in. Joining me this time, yes, it's my co-host, as always, our guardian of forever. And I think his mouth could be bigger. The jury is out on that. It's Sveta Betkin, the rabbi.
Hello, I was never sure if it's me or I don't want to spoil the surprise with the other guys. I'm like, am I the guardian forever? I don't know. I go forever.
We have noticed, but yes, Kirk and Spock have never jumped through your portal that you're aware of. But I'm sure if they did,
a rabbi doesn't kiss and tell. Let me tell you.
Plus, yes, he's back. Our regular panelist now, navigator extraordinaire. Let's see what's out there with Keith Isles.
There we go.
Still wearing the team colours.
Thought I had to do it, you know.
Absolutely. So yes, Alex, if you're still watching after all these weeks, you know you've got your man here. He's flying the flag for you. Whoa! Another week, another episode of Discovery. We're now five deep out of 13, approaching the halfway mark, and it's a choppy one. I feel it's almost like watching five different series at once. This show, but we'll get round to that in a moment. First of all, I wanted to run this news story past you, which had caught my eye, guys, because we live in an age of constant technological advancement, don't we? And fan films, of course, that is the realm of Star Trek and innovation, creative innovation, which sometimes, depending on who you are, they turn a blind eye to some of it more than others. But I wondered if you guys had seen this deep fake technology, which I know has been a thing for a little while now, but they've gone to work. Somebody here has gone to work on the original, that 2009 J.J. Abrams directed Star Trek movie, and they have replaced or deep faked, inserted the original TOS cast where Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto and everybody else usually is. So that's what they've done to create these sort of hybrids of the two. Have you seen this, and what do you make of it all? Where's it going to end, Rabbi?
Oh, pornography, which is where everything that's where all technology ends. No, I haven't seen it. Look, it looks very, very cool, but I think the incredible strength of the first JJ movie, which I think propelled the franchise for how many is it? About 12. It's really it moved on that was the casting. The casting was pretty much perfect. I mean, I love Zachary Quinto Spock. I think and that you could have him next to Leonard Nimoy and it just worked so seamlessly. Yeah. It was fun. I like Carl Urban's McCoy. Look, this is great. I'm if you enjoy it, great. And if the people working it, they did a fantastic job. I just don't. It seems like a lot of trouble for nothing to me. But whatever you want to do, you know.
I think once you've watched it once, Keith, and think, oh, clever, isn't it? You're probably unlikely to go back and watch it again. I was going to play it, but how long does it last? Oh, it's an actual trailer. So I'd better not, because we know that CBS, they do strike you down pretty damn quick. But, who would that be? That would be Paramount, wouldn't it? But yeah, it's all under the same, isn't it? But thanks
I wouldn't
to
do it. The CBS will copyright strike you if they catch you dreaming about Star Trek. Excuse me. I think you'll wake up and find a lawyer standing by your bed. And that's proprietary property. It's that's pretty all that.
Yeah, I think you could be right. But it says here that one of the things that I like about this video, this is Geek Tyrant that have covered it here, is that they've covered the narrative of the Kobayashi Maru test. So they present that story using film footage from Abrams' film and cut into footage from
That's
Star Trek 2,
the worst
The
part
Wrath
of
of
that
Khan.
movie. Oh my God, why would they choose that? Did you read the book Kobayashi Maru, which was so much better?
No, I didn't know.
Did you read it, Keith? It was,
I did not. No. But
okay, so
I have seen this as well, and I mean it's frightening, isn't it? Really, how clever this technology is, and yeah, I mean it's good. You know, it's funny, isn't it? Because when you watch that 2009 film, you do sort of think to yourself, as the rabbi said, and I agree with that, the casting was spot on. But then, obviously, when you see something like this, you kind of realize, like, Chris Pine has those sort of striking baby blue eyes, right? And obviously, William Shatner's Hazel or whatever. So they were, and of course, Carl Urban did an absolutely fantastic impression of DeForest Kelley, but actually didn't look anything like him, to be fair. I mean, the one out of those three that works the most is Quinto, is Spock, probably, you know. But again, I love that film, and I actually love the Kobayashi Maru scene because, you know, it's in a different timeline. So to cover your point, Rabbi, what happened in the book could have been in the prime timeline, and this is obviously the Calvin one, right? But it also, you know, details and references exactly what we heard about in Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan, and it just made me smile. I just thought it was great. He was even eating an apple and doing this, and you know, brilliant.
I don't know. It seemed to me, it seemed very climatic. Okay, the book had the thing where his thing was he reprogrammed the simulator that when he meets the Klingons, right, or the Romulans, or whatever it was, they go, "This is James T. Kirk of the Farragut," or whatever was the ship they were on, the simulator they were on, and then he reprogrammed so the Klingons went, "Wait, the James T. Kirk? Oh well, fine," and that's so much better than like, "Oh, the shields are off." I'm like, oh, please, you know, It just I honestly I love that movie. I love that 2009 movie, and that's the absolute weakest part of it in my opinion.
To be fair to JJ and whatever, there was actually more to it. If you get the home media version and watch the deleted scenes, there was a subplot where he used the Orion girl that he was sleeping with to actually reprogram it on his behalf and whatever. So it was a little bit more convoluted, but obviously that film had to cover quite a lot of real estate, so they decided to sort of take that subplot out to make it a bit more lean, and you know, it was a laugh moment. That was one for the fans, wasn't it? And I have to say, Chris Pine played it so wonderfully because he was so arrogant about it, you know, when he says, "So, you know, we've rescued the ship, no one was killed, and you know, the Kobayashi Maru is, you know," and just the way he says it perfectly, amazing. I love that. But it is uncanny to see it with the original faces. I
think that's the best of the deep fake things that I've seen. I haven't sought these things out. I know there are lots of them out there, and people do send them to me, but you know, I don't get a chance to watch everything that I get sent, because I get sent quite a lot of stuff right across all these different things. But it really impressed me, and I shall put a link in the description to this video so you can go and watch it for yourself and let us know what you think. Drop that in the comments too. While you're at it, as the little banner says, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more Warp Drive, and share to your Trekker or Trekkie friends, whoever and wherever. Somebody shared that trailer. That deep fake trailer over to William Shatner and said, "Look, look what somebody's done. This is incredible. This has restored you to where you should be, your rightful place." And William Shatner, to be fair to him, he softly sort of smited them. And said, "Look, right, you know, Chris Pine is a friend of mine. He's a fellow actor. This is actually quite disrespectful to another actor's work. They worked really hard on that film, and they've earned their place in the legacy. And you know, he really was generous and polite with this person. You know, he was great about it, but left them in no uncertain terms that, you know, please don't do stuff like this." So, well,
it was funny, wasn't it? Because Chris Pine, there was just something about him that you know, he sort of, he sort of embodied the essence of what Shatner had set out. And I'm always funny about different actors taking over, characters that I love and whatever. But because they were playing them sort of much younger, and it was in this different timeline, where some of their history when they grew up was slightly different and whatever. I thought it worked. Yeah. But that's very clever, though. That tech is very clever.
It is very good. But I have to say, I think the strongest thing of the 2009 movie was the whole Spock story arc. Like the way Zachary Quinto delivered the line when he turned down the spot, the Vulcan Science Academy, where he says "Live long and prosper," but he said it with all this contempt, and it was like it was so subtle. And it for a Vulcan, he was screaming in their face. It's like that was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I have to say, Quinto really nailed it. And this is why, in some respects, Ethan Peck has a little bit of a difficult job, because that's quite a hard act to follow. And I think that Quinto nailed it so well that trying to show, only 10 years later, trying to show, the same time period, the same age that Spock would have been, in that 2009 film with another actor, they've got quite a job, quite a challenge on their hands, But,
no, completely.
The weird thing about Ethan Peck was, like, when he had the beard, he looked kind of Spocky.
I agree.
That's what I thought. Like, what the hell? Who's this guy?
Exactly. I felt exactly the same, actually, because there was nothing, his acting was fine. I mean, for the material that you had to work with, right? His acting was fine. But I agree with you. I thought when he had the slightly longer, non-Starfleet hair and the beard and whatever, he actually looked more like Spock. And then when they gave him the Vulcan bowl cut and he had a shave, he suddenly looked a bit jarring. So yeah,
I think the bowl cut's up a little far, and his face isn't quite the right shape. That doesn't help. So all they've done in those little things that they've misjudged, they've accentuated the other things in which he's nothing like Leonard Nimoy. And so yes, I don't really know where they're going to go with that. I mean, I like to think Strange New Worlds would be good, and will be classic Star Trek with the odds.
It's going to be made. I cannot believe that's actually really going to be made. I can't believe Discovery Season 4 is going to be made, but
here we go.
Talking.
Did you see the short treks with Spock?
That was kind of a disappointing episode, wasn't it?
You are so on board for this current era. And I was like, even that's got to like be a shot across your bow. Yeah, it's.
I think the polite word is jarring. Jarring.
Well, it would have been all right if they hadn't burst into song. That was the kind of bit that it was just like, what?
And how come there's this massive roller coaster inside the Enterprise? I was like, I understand it looks cool to you, but not if you've ever seen Star Trek before. Space has had a premium on a starship. This is like space houses were coming inside there.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but obviously I wasn't around at the time. But if you talk to anybody who was one of the OG Star Trek fans, the people who are now in their, in their 60s and in their late 50s and into their 60s, they talk with the kind of the misty-eyed nostalgia about the fact that in the 70s, when the show had become really, really big in syndication, and before Star Trek: The Motion Picture, how they were deepening the fan base and extending it all was by putting out those sort of technical manuals for the Enterprise. And so that was all that generation had.
Oh, really? They did that?
Years.
I love that.
They did all that painstakingly. So this is a problem not a problem, but this is the audience mindset and the fan base mindset to be sort of that space is at a premium, that wouldn't work like that. That would be physically impossible in that space. This is something that's been attached to Star Trek for 40 years because they put out those technical manuals which kids just studied and pored over, and they built models based on and all that sort of thing. So it's perfectly reasonable, because obviously there are people out there who, when criticisms like that get fired against Discovery, anything that Kurtzman puts out, it's just a TV show, it's just that. But this is a cornerstone of, if not Star Trek itself, the appeal of Star Trek. There's masses of people who have gone into sciences the space program, even. But engineering based on studying blueprints for spaceships that didn't exist but could exist. Those books made you feel that.
Cell phones was a big one.
Yeah. So don't tell us now.
You mentioned the technical manual. They are so incredibly accurate, especially those early ones, that when they did Trials and Tribulations, there was this kind of like a reflection. They couldn't work out what that was on the original
Trouble with Tribbles.
Exactly, Trouble with Tribbles on the K7 space station. They couldn't work it out. And they used the blueprint from the technical manual to create the digital model. I think it was digital. It wasn't physical, right?
Yeah, it was digital.
And they and because they did using that, the lighting from the lights from the windows made up that shape. They couldn't work out what it was because it just kind of happened automatically because it's so freaking accurate. Because it's so spot on.
I used to have the next gen one that sort of came out in the early 90s that Denise and Michael Okuda did, and that was
it's got like a brown cover with the Enterprise.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I got it, and then I actually realized it was probably a little bit too technical. I was like, can't
know what the hell's going on here.
My disbelief was suspended enough, but it's good. I think the fact these things exist only make it richer, and I mean that's one of the things I will say for Discovery when they showed the visually reimagined Enterprise, the updated one.
I loved it.
I actually thought Discovery in some respects handled that or got that better than the one in the JJ films, because the one in the JJ films did that's the one. Yeah. The one in the JJ films did look very different, whereas they kind of got the look, but it was weird. I preferred the uniforms in the JJ films to the ones in the Discovery versions. So it's kind of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other,
if only we could mix and match. I mean, that corner to Star Trek, like with the book the rabbi's just shown on camera there. I've got that too, and I had that moment where I realised, hang on, this isn't really my thing. I've just bought it because it was
Star
cheap
Trek.
and it's Star Trek. Yeah. I love the art books are my thing.
Well, this was back when you couldn't get a lot of this sort of thing as well, wasn't it? It was
before the internet as well.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. Oh my God, makes us feel old.
Just imagine.
No, I was like fascinated with like the internal structure field and how they don't like the air. Like a lot of things I disagreed with, by the way. Like the holodeck just sounded kind of stupid. They make 3-dimensional models and they move around with tractor beams. I'm like, no, why are you doing that? That makes no sense. But like the whole thing,
and look at us now. And we've got deep fake technology, and we've got all sorts of stuff. But but I agree. The whole sort of turbo lift system being like a sort of massive roller coaster on the inside of the ship is I was a little bit like when I first saw that as well, but
slightly mental. Let's go back to the 30th century. We're in there 32nd century for to reconnect with Alex Kurtzman's vision of Star Trek in the far future with Star Trek Discovery Season 3. I can barely believe it. I can barely contain my excitement, everybody. This is the latest installment, Die Trying. And
if only they did.
And if you haven't caught it yet, or if you're one of the people out there who is letting us watch it so you don't have to, this is the general way it played out. After reuniting with what remains of Starfleet and the Federation, the USS Discovery and its crew must prove that a 930-year-old crew and starship are exactly what this new future needs. The teleplay is by Sean Cochran. The story is by James Duff and Sean Cochran, and it was directed by Maya Valivo and Anthony Miranvos. There's three directors. Three directors on this.
Really?
Yes, three. I better not say that.
No,
three directors.
I don't think that's right. It's Mara Varillo directed this episode.
Oh, okay. Maybe I've got my facts wrong there. Okay, yes. So, but even so, we've got a teleplay. I've always been a little bit confused about what's a teleplay and what's a script, but maybe it's the same thing. And stories, so the two different credits there.
Yeah, it's just terminology. Basically, a teleplay is a screenplay, but specifically for the television industry, basically. So it's just nomenclature. You know, it's the same thing.
One
so here
says
they are.
And the other one says Fade to Black. Basically, right?
Here they are. Then this is what we've been waiting for. This is the Star Trek Discovery crew trying to find their place in the 32nd century. This is, I feel, guys, what in all this time, right since they announced what Discovery was going to be, and all those cries of, "Oh God, another prequel! When are we going to see what's going to happen in the future? When are we going to see what's past Voyager?" Yeah. And of course, Picard. We thought we might get a bit of that in Picard. We didn't. We got this sort of grimy, God knows where, could be set anywhere. Here, categorically, we are seeing for the first time what the fan base has been crying out for: the Federation, not just after Voyager, but way, way after. And this is, and I've been really looking forward to this episode purely in a visual way, as I've just been speaking about what I loved about Star Trek and Star Trek collecting in the past was the art books. So I would look at those concept drawings and things like that, and what costumes were part of the legacy from one to another. So I was looking forward where they would take it, the creative minds that are presently at CBS All Access. How far would they push these designs? What visual treats would they roll out for us, Rabbi? And this is the first glimpse that we got, wasn't it, of the Federation and starships in the 32nd century. And I got to be honest, I found it somewhat wanting.
Well, listen, having a rainforest in space.
Not the stupidest thing I've ever heard, but.
I mean, well, no, listen, I understand they need food, and there's I can see it, but like, why is she so excited about? Okay, before I start tearing this apart, this is the best episode of the season, right? This is the best episode. This is the closest to Star Trek I think they've come. Not for me, nothing that I'm interested in any way. Too much crying, too much hugging. Which again, phasers, stun. That sounds like Star Trek, crying and hugging. And emotional validation, and Michael Burnham being the bestest ever in every. I mean, like honestly, like, wouldn't it be weird if you had an episode of the original series where Kirk like solved every problem, like where he was like, "I'll work out the science, I'll work out the engineering, I'll work out the costume, I'll make the tea." And if anybody doesn't like it, I'm going to look at you like, she's got this look this week, and it's been going.
Well, she's doing it there. She's doing it there. If I can get this up a little bit big, you can see her head tilted to one side. What? That is her superior officer. This is her superior officer and her friend. She's just submitted to this guy's authority, to Saru's authority, and fallen into line, decided where her place is going to be going forward, and she's immediately basically telling him, forget it, do it my way. I was pleased that they didn't sort of have Saru submit to her. He did put her in her place. I thought this episode again was quite nicely. I thought the characters were quite nicely written, and Saru, Doug Jones, continues to impress me week after week. The more they give him to do, the better he is.
I like the Admiral in this one, and I think the Admiral was completely right. They need to get all of these people off that ship and probably out of Starfleet. None of these people have any way the temperament to be on a military belt in any way, shape, or form. And I can play. Yes, well, let's get these crazy people off the ship and replicate the spore drive. And then maybe they can stop telling us how we're wrong about everything.
Can I ask you,
your own people?
Can I ask you both what you think? Well, we've got her on screen there, Tig Notaro as a character, as Jet Reno, the engineer. I think she is a really interesting performer, a great face, great voice, and I understand she's hugely famous in America as a stand-up comedian and a personality. Please understand, people watching in the States, I have no idea who she is. This is the first time I've ever seen her.
She's exactly like Tig Notaro. I don't even know the character's name. I call her Tig Notaro.
Reno.
I actually quite like this character. She's actually one of my
favorite
characters in it. But there's no acting going on.
That's what's frustrating for me, because they cut to her. She gets one scene per episode, or I'd say she's been in the show for a full season, half of the last half of this, and she gets one scene per show where she gets to be sort of stony faced and sarky. And that's as much as you get. We still don't really know who this character is. And I find it immensely frustrating, because I would like to get to know her. She's clearly got a lot of charisma. So is this really the only bone they're going to continually just throw us this tiny bone about who this person is?
She's a great and brave lesbian. There's nothing. That's her entire character.
Do you think that's all it is? I mean, is the actress gay and the character too? Is that?
I think she's super gay. I think gay is
really. I don't know what she's done. I don't know who she is.
The gayest person ever.
Fair play. So if she's there just to represent a lesbian in the future, oh, come on. She's clearly a great performer. Give her something to do. Make me care about this character, because I really want to. She's got a load of charisma. It's just not good enough. Please do something with it. Keith, go on.
I'm bursting here because already, and this will be fun for your viewers, but I completely disagree with everything you've said already.
Go on. In what way?
Let's wind it all back then to everything you've said. So first of all, how underwhelming it was when they arrive back at the Federation and see these ships, right? I understand the criticism from Picard about when all the ships turn up, they looked all the same and very uninspiring. And this was completely the opposite. You had ships of all sorts of design. A rainforest ship makes total sense. We've seen that in classic sci-fi like Silent Running, etc.
I think that was my problem with it, the rainforest one, because I'm sorry, it wasn't my problem with it. It's the fact that she found it incredible.
Yes, because they've come forward and there was all this new technology that they haven't seen.
In the 70s, we saw Silent Running.
We saw
it. We come from a different universe. We didn't have silent. They got to have a vegetation ships. Of course, they got.
I think it was the fact that it was surrounded in a force shield or something that they were commenting on. But anyway, so I thought that was great personally. The thing about Burnham and working together and the crew and all of this sort of thing. You're absolutely right that Michael Burnham, straight from the get-go, was incredibly arrogant and know-all and really stepped out of line, right? But she got put in her place by both the Admiral and Saru in that episode. So again, I don't have a problem with that because she got dressed down for it. It wasn't like she came off as the smartest and the bestest because
it was a pleasant surprise.
She was told she was wrong. The other thing you say about not working together, this episode was the thing where the entire crew worked together. Okay, Burnham, yes, she took command, but that was by Saru's wishes. Okay, Reno, Stamets, and Tilly all worked together as a team in the science with loads of technobabble, which is really Star Trek, to solve the problem. Detner and the rest of the bridge officers worked together to pilot it. Detner had a little bit of PTSD during it, which is good because that references what we've heard. So again, I thought this episode was fantastic, and I don't see what all the criticizing of it is. I
think all the potential for all that was there, but we see it more in moments here and there. It's never studied in any real way, and there's so much going on. I like the fact. I was excited by the premise of this, and when I saw that it ran for 55 minutes, I thought, okay, this is going to give us everything. This is going to really ground us in the 32nd century. And I thought the opening was actually okay. It's just as the episode went on, that's when I kind of it started to feel like just another episode of Discovery again, and that we weren't that advanced at all. I thought he was the guy from the Mummy series. I meant to remember his name and I've forgotten it. Admiral Vance.
Oda Ferrier,
yeah, brilliant. He's obviously been in 24. He's been in other TV shows before.
He was very strong. I'd say I think he was one of the best things of the episode.
Well, he behaved exactly how you'd. I mean, you know, I've heard some people saying, "Oh, the admiral was a bit of a dick or whatever," but I think no, of course not, because what reason does he have to trust a ship from 900 years in the past that's come forward in time, you know, with people he's never met, that there's no history of? So I think the way he behaves is absolutely how it would be, you know, realistic, if we're calling anything realistic these days.
I agree,
you know?
and he's a grounding factor this series really, really needs, and I hope he remains in the whole run.
I hope so. And also the other thing about them all being happy though, and huggy and all this sort of stuff, again, that makes a nice change. That, you know, I've heard people complaining that it's been so bleak and everybody's been dour and down and all this. And you know, we actually had a bit of relief in this episode where they were happy for 5 minutes. I'm sure it's not going to last, but you know, the fact that they were happy and everything. So to me, this was pure Star Trek again. They went on their mission. They worked together as a team. I will agree that the pace of everything is very quick, but that's because it's modern television. This is the audience now. You know, the internet generation. We these things, you know, we consume information from so many places really quickly. You can't have plotting like they had in the 60s or the 90s now, you know.
It's starting to sink in now, Keith, at least who some of these characters' names are 2.5 seasons in. I
agree with that. I agree with that point. I mean, they were very badly served in the first 2 seasons for sure.
So I'd really like to spend some more time with them. I mean, one of the things we talk about later in the episode here, I wanted to get, but seeing as we're talking about characters, because what I noticed was we have another one of the kind of regular cast departs in this story, the character of Nahan, and just like we had a character depart in the last series, Ariam. If you remember, the biomechanical woman, yes, and so this is the second time they've done it, and in both cases they spent, just like with Ariam in that particular episode, we found out a lot about that character in that episode, the episode where she departed, and they do the same here with the character of Narn. Now, on one hand, and that's relatively well put across, but if we knew so little about these characters, that I would rather find out about them and get to know them in the body of an actual season. That way, when they depart, we feel it. If they're only going to tell us something about these characters when they're about to leave, and then now it's happened twice, I think, okay, twice. If they do it 3 times, then I know that it's simply down to the fact that they're characterizing things badly, that it's just not working. We've got the rabbis just blipped off.
No, he put a thing that he couldn't hear us. So,
Kurtzman's sort of he's sniped him. Yeah, so yeah. So this I just don't understand. I don't understand why this keeps happening. Okay, it is only twice, but I think they want me to feel this, and I can't feel it because I don't know who that person is. When they're not on the show anymore, I'm not going to miss them because I never got to know them in the first place. And the strange thing is, Keith, and I don't know if you feel this, the only character that I miss from the cast, how mad is this? I miss Book from episode 1. The guy's been in 1 episode.
2 episodes. Two episodes. Yeah.
But in the last 2 weeks, I think where the fact that he's not there anymore, what an impact to make in a short period of time. And I think that's because they introduced the character, and we spent a significant proportion of particularly the first episode with him to get to know him. And that's the big difference. That's why I miss the character.
Yeah, no, this is one bit I totally do agree with you on, both with Arian and Narn, is the fact that you're absolutely right. They give us 1 episode to start to get to know them and maybe start to be interested and care about them a little bit, and then they're gone. And it almost feels like that hadn't been built up or earned in any way. So I do totally agree with you there. And Narn, you know, I was quite surprised by this because I was expecting Narn to become the Discovery security officer. You know, because obviously we lost Landry in the first season, played by Rekha Sharma, and you know, it's a bit like the engineer in the first couple of seasons of Next Generation until Geordie stepped up. You know, you sort of, who's going to be the engineer?
Two or three of them, don't we?
Exactly, and we got the same deal with the security officer. My prediction is Lieutenant Willer, which was the character that the Admiral put on as their sort of chaperone, as it were, on that mission. Yeah. I suspect that she is going to become the Discovery's security officer, and that there might be some, if I was writing it, there'd be some distrust there amongst her and the rest of the crew, because the crew would think that she's put on as a spy for the Admiral.
Perfectly reasonable thing for them to do. I think you're right. She reminded me a little bit of Major Kira from Deep Space Nine. The uniform and the disposition.
Yeah, it's funny, these uniforms, because again, I'm a bit like you. I love the design stuff, and I'm always looking to see ships and uniforms and
now you mention
technology and all this. And yes, they do have a little bit of the Bajoran officers look to them, but of course with
that communicator,
with the three classic colors.
It also reminds me a little bit of the JJ costumes as well, the JJ universe, the Kelvin verse, costumes. It does sort of tie it all together somehow. I like the sort of the hints of things. I mean, you could say it's a little bit muted, and that's the thing. It's the environment was what disappointed me a little bit. I expected it to be I just wanted it to be a bit more colourful, a bit more exciting, and a bit. We're edging into dystopia again. You see, I quite like it when the Discovery itself broke through that barrier and we saw the ships. I quite liked all that, and the idea of the rainforest. Again, I quite like that as well, because it's mankind and all our allies sort of preserving what we can to move forward into the future. But when we actually get aboard, it feels like we're in a clinic of some kind, and it just it starts to feel dystopian, and I'm just bored with it.
I mean, I heard a wild theory. I don't know where I heard this, but I heard a wild theory the other day that not only had they jumped forward in time 930 years, but they'd actually jumped into the Kelvin universe, and this is actually the Kelvin universe in the future.
We couldn't be that lucky, could we, Rabbi?
I mean, but honestly, who cares? I mean, like, well, I don't think it makes a big difference, does it?
No, I don't suppose it does. No.
Well, they all look very similar, don't they? Yeah.
Wait, what did I miss? Catch me up.
We've just been talking about the uniforms and how
we were agreeing.
Yeah, about the it all looks a little bit Bajoran, but I was just about to come round to fun if we're talking about Deep Space Nine there, talk a little bit about Voyager, because here we had this massive kiss back to Voyager itself.
Yeah, I really didn't like that. I have to say,
I did.
To me, it just okay. This is the exact opposite of the Mandalorian. Mandalorian, when they put member bearers in, they seem organic. Here, it just seemed like name checking. I would just going back to something that I'm not sure we covered. The thing that I found underwhelming about Starfleet when they got to Starfleet was I didn't see. I don't remember seeing any actual ships. I saw bits of them, but I didn't see any. Like it just. And then when you saw the current day ship, it was a teeny tiny one. So yeah, I mean that was underwhelming.
I do agree with that. I mean, I'm one of these people that's a big fan of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and I love the fact that it takes them 5 minutes to fly around the outside of the Enterprise before they dock. Yes, and I love that. But
do you think
nowadays you haven't got that sort of time, and also no doubt visual effects wise that would cost them an absolute fortune
to render like 15 ships. But do you think they also, because we could be in the 32nd century for quite some time, they don't want to nail themselves down too much to Starship designs, which they may want to change if there is a season 5, for example. And I like the idea. We got a ship with floating nacelles. A fascinating idea, but they didn't focus on it for too long. They didn't let us get a really good look.
I was trying to work it out, but I was like, okay.
I for one was really happy about I'm a bit of a Voyager fan, and the fact that it got we saw the J, which I kind of like, because obviously it's always been the Enterprise that has kept the registry number with the letter at the end.
The hero ship.
And and I like the fact that because Voyager obviously got back from the Delta Quadrant and survived and all this sort of thing. I like the fact that they've sort of honored that. So yeah, that made me smile, the Voyager thing.
The fans have, and the general shape of the ship looks similar.
My impression is that they know more about Voyager than anything else, right? I mean, that sort of seems to be Picard, especially, sort of seems to be how these shows are written. They give a vague knowledge, like Picard he had a friend, the robot guy Data. They must have been super close, right? Yeah, so let's make a show around that. It's like things they basically vaguely know, and they know about Voyager. They know like Janeway, right? Oh, the Janeway.
Well, do you think it's because that's the old Star Trek show that's okay to like because there was a woman in the captain's chair?
Yeah, 100% what I think. 100% what I think.
Yeah.
Bit cynical, Keith.
Well, no. I mean, I don't completely disagree with that. I think that sometimes the writing and the design and all that probably leans more heavily on the shows of that era, the Next Generation and Voyager and Deep Space Nine, than it does the original series necessarily. Even though, obviously Voyager or Discovery was supposed to be originally taking part before the original series. But, I get it. Audiences wouldn't accept if they made everything look like the stuff did on network television in the 60s. So, we've got to update it. I get that.
Moving on a little, I wanted to talk about, because in the past, in the last few weeks, I think I've sort of reached the point of no return, really, with deciding that Michelle Yeoh's character simply is not working. But in this episode, things started to turn around. I think they started to turn around largely due to the putting her opposite this character played by David Cronenberg, of all people.
Yes.
In scenes where the two of them, because they're both not what I would call naturalistic actors, and they take it in turns to kind of try and outdo one another, I think, with being arch. And because they're both, at least, look, a lot of the time Michelle Yeoh looks like and sounds like she's acting in another show altogether. Here in these scenes, at least whatever show that she's on,
yeah, I hear that. Yes,
whatever show that she's on, Cronenberg's on it too, isn't he, Rabbi?
I guess so. I hadn't thought about that. It was a weird cameo, though, wasn't it? Wasn't it strange?
It was really good. I'll tell you what, I was hoping, when she asked about the glasses and he said, I think they look cool or whatever, I was hoping he was going to say, I'm allergic to Red Nice 5.
Yeah, they would have said that if they've ever seen Star Trek before.
But the thing is, you can obviously see what they're doing here is they're setting up this Section 31 show, aren't they? That's what's happening here, right?
I think so. So. And I clearly he works for whatever Section 31 has become in the future, and wherever because people have assumed that the title of the show, Section 31, that it would be back at the time of when we first met Discovery, but that really needn't necessarily be the case, had it?
No, and it also makes more sense as well, because the problem with setting a Section 31 show in the 23rd century is in the 24th century, when they crop up in Deep Space Nine, nobody knows who the hell they are, So of course, it makes a lot more sense if we're going this far into the future.
I realised as well. I realised as well in this episode why they had, because I was dead against them moving on Discovery. I'm all for them moving it into the future, but I would have preferred about 200 years. I couldn't understand why they'd done it 800 years into the future. But with this episode, I think it seals it as to why they've done it. It's to shift it past not just Voyager, not just that time, but past the temporal Cold War of Star Trek Enterprise. So they could draw a line under that as well. Now you could say that was a folly of Brannon Braga, wasn't it, when it created Enterprise itself, by landing them with that temporal Cold War story. But the fact is that it does exist. It is set in stone. And so by moving it past that, at least they have as clean a slate as they're ever going to have. And that was name-checked here as well. Name-checked enough, but not... I wouldn't call that a member berry. I'd call that a story element, just for the people out there who are going, what about the temporal accords? What about the Cold War? Well, we've dealt with that now. We don't need to go on about that. Just forget about mumbo jumbo. Now we can start telling good stories.
Yeah. They freed themselves up.
In theory, because the story they start by telling, guys, the quest they send them on, because we get that scene, don't we, with with Michelle Yeoh and Cronenberg here, and yeah, I quite enjoyed that. But it's back to the driving story pretty quickly, and they get sent on this mission. You're quite right. The Burnham argues a little with the superior, the Admiral Vance, who ridiculously tries to get her own way against him, even though she's living in a totally different century.
I mean, the thing that blows my mind is her look of utter disbelief when everybody doesn't go, "Oh, Michael Burnham, you're the best." And like this look like actually get like
and the choice, Rabbi, to perform it.
Date, like maybe I don't know. I sort of I don't know. At least she's not Mariner. At least she's not Mariner.
It proves, Rabbi.
That's a low bar.
It proves that not only is Sonequa Martin Green making those choices to perform the character like that, but the character is being written like that as well. And as they view a strength, I don't know. I think this episode was better. I think the dialogue was a little better.
Yeah, you've got to also remember the fact that even though yes, they're moving more towards an ensemble, which I'm all for, by the way, but Michael Burnham is still the lead character of this show. You know, she is the main character, you know, and they're writing for the main character, you know, as they did, to be fair, as they've always done in Star Trek, you know,
right. I mean, honestly, they need to start writing for they started writing for the rest of the ensemble, and it's like, at least I know Dieter's name now, right? They got that far. I know Dieter's name. But look, my fundamental criticism remains the same, that this is a intently feminine show, and I'm just not that interested in it. Like they'll see there's different ways that men and women experience stress and problem solve, and you really like that's the scene where they're trying to tractor beam up the little ship, and Dieter has a little flutter, and she's like, "Take a minute, you got this, right?"
Yeah,
that is pure feminine problem solving and reinforcement and positive reinforcement. And I'm just
in isolation, it's fine. In isolation, it's fine, isn't it? But it's just the fact that it is a constant. It is a.
They don't have any. They will never stop doing this. It's the only way they can write. I think.
I mean, to be fair, if they make Strange New Worlds, that's going to be a Captain Pike show, isn't it? So you know that's going to be a male-led show.
Trust them. Listen, I don't think they can get this identity politics out of their head. This is their world they live in 24/7. That everything revolves around identity, and there's been a group of people who have been persecuted who haven't been, and now we got to readdress about everything is filtered through that insanity, and when you do that, everything fails. I mean, even though this had good bits to it, and again, they are, I think, by osmosis, like blindly staggering, vaguely more in a direction of Star Trek. Yeah, I mean, we sort of had it on so, but then we have that like the 32nd century Starfleet officer looking at them, going, "You're the least professional people in the entire. Like, what is wrong with you, children?" When they're like, you got Stamets and Jean Reno and. Like she was like, "What's wrong with you? Grow up!" Yeah. And I want to say the same thing to them as well.
Well, that's a good point that you raised there, Rabbi. Because one of the things I thought this show actually did this week, particularly during the interrogation scenes, is they almost took the mickey out of how bad the first two seasons were. Didn't you feel that? You know, when
I didn't think about
that. You've got Culber there going, "Well, I died, but I came back to life, and well, the guy that killed me, well, we're cool. We were cool then." And Tilly goes, "Oh, I dressed up as a dominatrix in a different universe and was a badass." And you know, they said all these things that do sound absolutely ridiculous, and you think to yourself, that was season 1 and 2, chaps. You know, and I felt they kind of almost self-referenced it. I felt that I feel that regardless of Alex Kurtzman, I know he's the head honcho here, but the writing team on this series, they, this is why I defend them every week and give them credit, because I honestly believe they understand what the problems with this franchise is in its first couple of seasons, and they're addressing it, and they're trying to make it more Star Trek. And I think they're doing a good job so far. Personally, I know loads of people out there disagree with me. I think the last
2 episodes have been better. I preferred generally. I preferred the week before's because it did hold my attention. I don't know how you felt about it, but when the quest story began and they went off looking for these seeds and various, I started to lose interest in the plot rather, and it started to feel like any old episode of Star Trek Discovery. And I just thought, why this whole extended runtime, we were getting less time with the contrasting characters and the contrasting environment, and we were back in this dimly lit, cavernous place talking mumbo jumbo about a stake which I can't feel yet because we haven't been here long enough. I would have rather the entire episode be about the interpersonal aspects of it, and not so much a sort of a balance of power situation, but I think there was so much drama to be had back in that space station, and maybe showing us the other aspects of society that have changed in the meantime.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I don't think it's over yet. I think we're going to see a lot more of that, and I certainly hope we do. What they tried to do here with the longer running time, and they probably bit off a bit more than they could chew, really, because they tried to do, you had the mission, you had the stuff going on the space station, you had the interrogation, the Giorgio stuff, and there was a lot going on, and obviously the whole technobabble thing, there was loads of that, but let's be honest, that's a staple of Star Trek anyway, right?
Yeah.
How many next gen episodes were just technobabble nonsense, and they figure it out. So I give them a pass on that.
Yeah, I never mind any of that.
But I agree that I want them to continue to work on the sort of interpersonal relationships and how they're dealing with the situation and all this. And I'm really hoping that they do balance that with the exploring new stuff and mission of the week and all of that malarkey. I mean, your thing, Dan, that you said you want to see kind of happened this week almost. You said you wanted them to be like a sort of covert op, ship that can go anywhere in the galaxy.
That officially doesn't.
That seems to be where they're going with this, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they seem to do that this week. Sending them on this particular mission.
It's the only interesting place to take this as a format. I think particularly if they're going to remain with the ship. I mean, I still think that the Discovery itself is a beautiful piece of design. It harkens right the way back to the 70s, but updates.
Well, it's Ralph McQuarrie, wasn't it?
And we see some great sort of glamour shots of it in this one. I like the fact that they put that officer you were talking about, who could be the security chief you mentioned, the person who works under the Admiral.
Lieutenant Willer, I think.
Yeah,
they said she was.
I mean, to be honest, it's yet another episode of Discovery, yet another stern-faced female who can't seem to act properly. But in principle, I like I like the idea, but I like the contrast. And when they said to her, I think you better hang on to something. Black alert time. Again, it's quite good, and it's the visual language of it. It all looks very analog compared to it's analog to digital. The contrast between the Discovery and their tech, but to sort of go old school like that, say okay, it may be a 900-year-old ship, but this is what it can do, and it being unique, having its own unique place, they could potentially go somewhere interesting with it. But it was all set up, of course, to write out that when you blipped off, Rabbi, we did talk about this a little. It was all this entire plot was set up pretty much to get rid of this one character who, and I was saying to Keith, who we've never really got to know. And this isn't the first time they've done this. Your mic's off, mate. This isn't the first time they've done it. So how can we care about a character that we never got to know in the first place?
Yeah. No, agreed. And also I agreed with you on the your missing book. I actually missed that character as well, and I'm sure he's going to come back at some point.
The rabbi, your mic isn't connected again. It's
Sorry, was I talking all over him? I didn't realize.
How's that?
That's
Ah,
it. We can hear you now. Yes, so earlier on we mentioned about Narn being sort of booted off. What had you noticed is that they keep doing this. They keep departing characters as if it's some great big thing that we should really care about, but we don't know who they are anyway. So
well, I think they probably went on YouTube and did a search for best of Star Trek, right? And so they saw like a Wolf leaving, you know, and they saw like a big. They think, oh, whoa, we should do a bit of that, and they just realize that you haven't connected to any of these. Like, I guess if Tilly left, it would be a big deal. Like we know Tilly, we know Saru is, and although Saru, just I like Doug Jones's performance, but this character is just so. Paper. I mean, like he's the captain, but he's really not. He's there just to give positive reinforcement from a father figure to Burnham and anybody else, any of the other female crew being feminine constantly throughout the show. I mean, that's really his function.
He's quite a feminine character as well, Saru.
Yes, he is. And again, it's interesting, sort of, if it was an exploration vessel. Look, honestly,
give it a chance. We're not even
bring it back for me.
We're not even halfway through yet, you know, and you've both said that this is getting better. So give it a chance. It's got to get there.
I mean, listen, that's like saying things are getting better, and you're in Germany in 1943. You know, you got 2 more years to go. Seriously, it's a bit better, but it's still pretty darn awful.
I was also saying, I was throwing the contrast up that I was putting up earlier on, Rabbi, was the fact that I'm not going to miss this character at all. Yet she's been in the show for almost a full year.
I'm not going to miss one thing about the show. I like the design of Discovery because it looked like Star Trek Phase 2, and that's it. And
that's where it was from.
Yeah. I mean, it's a chore to watch it. I don't like it. Oh, I just don't like it.
That's my main problem with it. If people ever ask me, you watch that new Star Trek show? Is it any good? And you say, well, I watch it every week. Is it any good? No, I don't know. I don't really know where it's going. I don't know what.
I'll say this about it. This season has totally been better than Doctor Who.
I was going to say,
yes, considerably better than Doctor Who.
I don't even know what you mean there, but
it's great. It's just, it's not really for me.
Well, Keith, just to quantify it for you, what I think the Rabbi and myself certainly mean by that is that as you said, they seem to know what was wrong before, and now they're going about trying with the best of their ability to put it right now. The people currently making Doctor Who, they are not anywhere near in that place.
Right.
So that's the difference. But
with this, you know, when I came on and we talked about Lower Decks, right? I didn't like it, and it wasn't for me, and we talked. So I just stopped watching it. You know. So, you know, you've got that option, right?
No, the only reason I watch it is for my channel. That's the only reason. And same with Doctor Who. I did, but you know what? I'm just really upset that they're so off the mark with making Star Trek that they make me, who has watched every freaking every cell of Star Trek to date, make me not want to watch it. I mean, like, it just feels like that's a massive failure. It feels like it's a massive failure. I'm actually. There's no new audience they're bringing in to replace me.
No, I mean, I feel sad that you feel like that about it, because I really do think that you're carrying some baggage across with it, and you need to drop them off at the door, mate.
Well, listen, what other show do you go through when you go season 1? We got these characters that are freaking awful. Season 2, they just times that by a gazillion, and I hate every one of these characters. And you come back in season 3 and you go, well, let's pretend that everything they did wrong didn't happen. No.
I have to
Burnham to be an awful person and an awful character who's mentally ill. And they're not doing anything to change that.
No, they are trying to change it. I think. I have to admit, and this is very controversial, and of course, it's always different when you look at things in hindsight, right? But I'll be honest, when Next Generation first came out, I liked Picard. I thought Patrick Stewart, great actor, interesting character. But I didn't really connect with Next Generation for the first couple of seasons and stopped watching it. And it wasn't until I saw Yesterday's Enterprise in season 3 that I was like, oh, maybe I should give this another chance. And I did. And I thought everything that followed was
right.
fantastic.
But I think this is qualitatively different. One is finding your feet. One is trying to come back from a intrinsic hatred of a large section of your audience, an intrinsic hatred of American values, which is let's say Western values, an intrinsic hatred of it, an intrinsic hatred of masculinity. It's very hard to come back.
I think what you pointed to is the fact that the foundations, the fundamentals of TNG were always there, and they were always sturdy.
It's a question of execution. Here, it's a question of. The execution has always been fantastic. Like that first season when they put like $1 gazillion million into every second of it, it looked great, right? It did look great. The execution was fantastic. But this year, I also something that's really annoying me is those stupid little robots. I hate those.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, that's a Star Wars thing that has no place in Star Trek.
Right,
I agree.
right.
But hey, it's
They mentioned it. Yeah.
They done course correction, but still, you just got this twisted premise, that bleeds through. I think this is something that can't be saved. It's certainly can't be saved by the people that are making it. And I have zero confidence they can do anything else. I have zero confidence they can make Brave New World.
So what you want is a change of management at the top end, basically.
Trust. Yeah. I think that's what saved Star Trek Enterprise. Having said that, Star Trek Enterprise, the foundations to that were always sturdy anyway, as well. Sorry, but what saved that show, what made it creatively take flight, was a complete change. It's bringing in Manny Koto and everybody else going. Yeah, and I do think that's what they're resisting doing here, and the more they resist it. It is sort of holding it back. I think it's holding the cat back.
Problems that can't be solved by half measures. Again, Doctor Who, same thing. Star Wars, you're right. When The Last Jedi came out, the what they should have done is remade Episode 7. Just remade that episode. Yeah, but they tried to address it with half measures, right? And let's not admit we did anything wrong and do that, and it just fell apart. Rise of Skywalker was awful. Yeah, it just. The problems are, for me, they're too severe. That even if they had great stories, I don't think I could get over it. But they don't have great stories. They have very mediocre stories where these are people who are just starting to work out what science fiction is about. Just now.
That is kind of what it feels like. Next week, we're always giving great teasers for upcoming episodes with this. Next week, I hope they're going to sort of seize the day. I think.
Because I watch it on Netflix and I never see a teaser for the next episode. Because me and Pete always talk about that. Do they have that on Netflix?
On CBS All Access's versions, they do.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yes, it really does depend on where you've got it from, how you view it. But yes, so we're given these teasers. I do hope that they're going to sort of seize this creatively. And who knows, by the end of the season, we may get something, Rabbi, that we're not going to dread coming back next time too, at least. If you don't necessarily like it.
I don't have any faith. I don't have faith in a heart, right? So you have that.
I want to talk about one more thing before we sign off, which I did, and I'm going to quote Alex Kurtzman this time, and not in a bad way. I want to talk about the tribute here to Aaron Eisenberg and obviously his character of Nog. We saw the USS Nog.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
docked.
That's lovely. Okay, cool. That's very nice.
PlayStation there, and Aaron passed away. I mean, this man was not just a Star Trek actor and pillar of the convention circuit, but he was also a massive Star Trek fan, a big supporter of the fan base. You know, he loved the fans; they loved him. He was very much in the mix with the fans in the trenches, to the point where he even had his own podcast with Cyril Clofton, who played Jake Sisko on the show.
And he was a great character as well. Listen, he was coming off.
He really was.
The way Nog developed throughout the seasons, until that point where he was on the bridge of Defiant and he was the relaying the orders because they had Eddington had destroyed all the internal workings of the ship. That was just fantastic, right?
Yeah,
and the post-traumatic stress disorder when he lost his leg, just a fantastic character, fantastic arc. Did great. No wonder we love him, right? No wonder we love him. It's
really good.
No, Dan, I'm really pleased that you've done that, actually, because I think that's really respectful and nice. Because you're absolutely right. He died very young, and
Poor man had been ill his entire life as well. You know, really. And he sees life, and he was a very creative man. Gave everything a try. He was a family man. Obviously, I know it's been a year or so since he passed away. I was shocked, and I saw several posts from people out there, you out there in fandom who knew Aaron and met him on the fan circuit or worked with him. And obviously, my thoughts are with you on that. But these are the words of Alex Kurtzman. We promised to honour the legacy of both Nog and the late Aaron Eisenberg, and it seemed fitting to name a starship after a character who exemplified the possibility of resilience after a period of darkness. Hopefully, we'll see.
That's the most Star Trek thing he's ever written, ever.
well done, Alex Kurtzman. For that. That's good.
More of that, please.
This quote is attributed to Alex Kurtzman. He said, "Hopefully, we'll see more of the USS Nog as it helps Starfleet build a brighter future." A brighter. Future.
It kind of reminds me that there's this woman, Leslie Headland, who's writing the new female-centric Star Wars show, and she just sounded awful in every way, shape, or form. Just like doing everything wrong. She put out a few things recently, just say everything right to connect to the fans. Oh, just more of that, please. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, so that's it. Obviously, we still miss this actor. We're sad we're not going to see him in further Star Trek productions and at conventions, but as tributes go, as a start as well, it's a great one. And I hope that if they're going to spend more time, if we're in the 32nd century permanently, and subsequent Star Trek shows are, hey, why not? I've seen the Rabbi's got that does wrap us up this time, but the Rabbi's got something he wants to.
I have a crossover. If you can work it out between Doctor Who and Star Trek.
Yes, Doctor Who fans.
New release coming out next year. Eric Roberts played the Master in the 1996 Doctor Who they did on. But you'll see that he's accompanied by Chase Masterson. Chase Masterson plays. She's done this character quite a bit on Big Finish. This bounty hunter, futuristic bounty hunter. She was one of the first kick-ass bounty hunter, female bounty hunter roles that I saw, and she was very, very good. So I tell you, I think this is a good little crossover between the two worlds.
So she's still. I can't speak. She's still playing that same character that she's played in previous box sets for Big Finish, and now they're playing with the Master. Oh, I get it. I can't wait for this release. I think Chase Masterson is a really fun actress. She was great as Lita in Deep Space.
I saw her once in real life. I was at a convention, and I just looked next to me, and I saw the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. I'm standing next to me, signing autographs. And I was like, "Oh, that's Chase Masterson." She was absolutely the most beautiful person I've ever seen.
No, she's lovely. I'm familiar, of course, with the actress, but I'm not familiar with this character. So. Can you? Sorry,
no, me neither. I've never heard these. She plays it's kind of a River Songish character. Is it Rabbi?
No. It's more like a female Han Solo.
Oh, that's more. Yeah, that's more
Cool.
on it. Yeah. So it's a different kind of character for the Doctor Who universe, but she's been in her own sort of little bubble with it, really. So it's nice that they're bringing her across here, and she always does everything with huge enthusiasm. Chase Masterson.
Exactly.
And,
I thought she was great when she hosted that Star Trek show, that new show with whoever hosted it with her. But I really thought she was great. I've always liked her.
See that. I'll have to go and check that out. But yeah, I'll definitely be looking forward to that. Looking forward to hearing them talking about going across franchises and bounty hunters. I want to let you know about the stream that myself and Keith and our friend Ian Diaz, the Mega Geek, we were on last night. This was our regular Saturday tea time stream, Rabbi. We've been having fun talking about The Mandalorian here. And yes, episode 3 this was. We talked not just about The Mandalorian, but we went deep.
Really loved that episode.
Deep. Yes, I think we did too, yeah. But we went deep on all things Star Wars and opened the archive to analyse all those little nuggets about George Lucas's original plans for his sequel trilogy that everybody over at Lucasfilm and Disney decided weren't quite good enough. So we gave those a bit of time, bit of love, and decided, well, wait and see what we decided. The link to that will be in the description. You can find it on the Spacebook channel in the playlists alongside this, of course, Teleporter Blake 7 podcast. These 2 episodes that have been put out so far. Lots more to come. Great feedback to this show, probably more than anything I've ever done. I think the Blake 7 fan base, you're lovely. So thank you. Keep the comments coming. Keep the shares coming. And yes, there'll be one every month for the foreseeable future. Series 1, most of it's already been recorded, in fact. But yeah, keep it coming and keep your eyes peeled for the enhanced video version here on the Spacebook channel. That'll be here every month on the 7th as well. How about that? Keith, what's going on in the Home Media Minefield this week? What do you want to plug?
Yeah, well, I mean, just the channel, really, Home Media Minefield. It's on YouTube. For Star Trek people, I have very early on when I launched the channel, I did actually review the Blu-ray edition of the Star Trek movies. So yeah, check that out. That's Home Media Minefield. It's unboxings, reviews, explain videos, all of that sort of stuff. And if you want to see any acting or filmmaking, then go to British Isles. That's EYLES, where I've got some short films that I produced and directed on there.
How about you, Rabbi? What's going on in your planet this week?
I'm going off from this to do one of my crazy religious streams, which is it's always a bit of a segue, but I don't want. I stay
faith of the heart.
I stay reasonably dirty throughout. You can take the filth out the rabbi. You can't take the rabbi out the filth. Let me tell you. Sorry, as you were going to say.
Yeah, sorry. I also forgot to mention, as we're talking Star Trek here, I've of course got a podcast as well, which is Let's See What's Out There, where we're reviewing every episode of Discovery at the moment, and there's also Let's See What's Out There Plus, where we're looking at the Mandalorian season 2. So yeah, please, all good podcast catches, you can find that.
I am always watching Mandalorian season 2. I'm absolutely adoring it. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I got a bunch of stuff going on. I got the normal eclectic mix of fun, insanity, irreverence, and a little bit of smutty humor. I think it can be said there'll be a little bit of smutty humor sprinkled liberally throughout, splattered, liberally across the chest.
And this week we should be bringing back Geek Lord Overmind, which is the show that we sort of put together over on the Rabbi's channel, which I host, and we have a lot of fun doing that. Have you been on one of those yet, Keith?
Sorry, what is this?
Geek Lord Overmind.
Come on. Okay.
What is that? Is that a Doctor Who thing?
No, it's a game show. It's a game show which Dan hosts. I'm a team captain. Noel's a team captain, and it's a general battle of general knowledge of sci-fi geekdom.
Ooh, sounds interesting.
I'll send you a link later on. You don't have to sign your life away just yet, but yes, I'll send you some links. It's a good laugh, and lots of people have been asking for it. So yes, we hadn't permanently stopped, but it's back for another block this week, all being well.
Maybe come back for the Christmas episode.
Yeah, let's make a.
That'll be fun doing
relaunch
Christmas
of
episode.
that. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen? Yes, but for now, that is it. Stay with the channel, please. Like this video, definitely subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss what's coming next. More Warp Drive, more Teleport, more Type 40, more Type 40 Live, all that sort of stuff. Yes, subscribe to the channel, then you won't miss any of it. But yes, for now, that is us beaming out. Thank you for your time, everybody. I think things are getting better. It's not quite as painful as it once was. Who knows where we'll be by the end of the season. You stick with us. We'll stick with Discovery. But for now, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.